Puxatawny Phil didn't see his shadow, so you know what that means. They're going to be warmer days for POTA, and we'll get into more of that and more on Live Free and Ham. Hello, and welcome to Live Free and Ham podcast. It's our bi-weekly show where we explore ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, and in the Northeast. Whether you're a regular listener or a first-time guest, we're excited to have you here, and we appreciate your support. And appreciate you. Thanks for listening to today's episode. All right, so let's get into today's show. I'm your host, call sign November 1, Juliet United Radio, and the gang's all here.
Paul, KF4, TPY.
And Ryan, W1SNH.
And Todd, W1 STJ, still a general.
Hey, Roger. All right, well, before we get into the show discussion, we always like to catch up and let our listeners know what's going on and where the crew might be off to next. As always, every month we will host our live stream show on our YouTube channel. We apologize for last January's because we had across a field day and winter field day, and we just didn't get a chance because we were having so much fun. So we will make it up in February timeframe. But you always keep an eye on our keep updated on our socials, website. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that and you'll get notified when we're live. And as always, the road less traveled giveaway is still open. So if you want to get in on the action and pick the dates when Todd and I might get our kilo, now that Puxatawny Phil gave us, 6 weeks until spring, you can head on over and fill out that, giveaway, and hopefully we'll get you in there and you can win some great prizes, and you'll be able to see us live. So, all right. Well, with that, we now going to dive into our favorite segment. And now for something a little extra with Todd, W1STJ. All right. Well, we all decided to rally with Todd, and in typical Live Free Ham and Ham podcast fashion, man, I am tripping all over my tongue today. We'll be bringing you guys along. So here's the format. In each episode, our quiz master Paul, he'll read 3 questions from the extra pool, and we'll be using hamstudy.org. So if you want to follow along, you can head on over there and get yourself an account and come with us on this journey. So as always, we just want to let you guys know hamstudy.org is always a great app to study for any level of your ham radio license. We've all used it. We all recommend it. We definitely aren't sponsors of this, but we want to make sure that if you are looking for to either get an upgrade or you're maybe looking to get your technician license, then, head over there and get going on that process. You won't be disappointed, and you'll definitely be able to get closer to your goal of getting your ticket. All right, so before we go, we'll kick it off to the quiz master. He's already staged up and ready to go. Fire away, Paul.
All right, so Todd, today we're doing questions from sub-element 4, and you should have gotten to this section already. So the first question, what does a third-order intercept level of 40 dBm mean with respect to receiver performance? A, signals less than 40 dBm will not generate audible third-order intermodulation products. B, the receiver can tolerate signals up to 40 dB above the noise floor without producing third-order intermodulation products. C, a pair of 1 milliwatt input signals will produce a third-order intermodulation product that is 40 dB stronger than the input signal. Or is it D, a pair of 40 dBm input signals will theoretically generate a third-order intermodulation product that has the same output amplitude as either of the input signals?
Say that 6 times fast.
All right.
And the answer is...
No pressure.
All right. I'm going to say D.
He is correct. A pair of 40 dBm input signals will theoretically generate a third order intermodulation product that has the same output amplitude at either of the input signals. Great job.
Way to go!
All right. We got 1 for 3. This is good. We're off to a good start here. Go ahead. Second question, Quizmaster.
All right. Which of the following limits the highest frequency signal that can be accurately displayed on a digital oscilloscope? Is it A, all of these choices are correct? B, the amount of memory? C, the sampling rate of the analog to digital converter? Or is it D, the Q of the circuit?
Ooh, the silence is deafening.
I'm going to say C. My final answer.
C is correct.
Crushing it tonight.
Wow.
It's the audio book, baby.
Totally. Way to go.
Way to go!
It shows that you're studying, and the studying is paying off.
Paying off.
All right. Are you ready for the final question?
Yes.
What is the purpose of the preselector in a communications receiver? Is it A, to allow selection of the optimum RF amplifier device? B, to store often used frequencies? C, to increase rejection of signals outside of the desired band? Or is it D, to provide a range of AGC time constants?
All right.
And the answer is
All right. I don't remember seeing this question, but I'm gonna go with B.
So close. The correct answer is C, to increase rejection of signals outside of the desired band.
Well, like Meatloaf says, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Well, we appreciate you playing along there, and not bad. This is the second session that or episode that you've done 2 out of 3. So
Oh
keep
yeah,
up the
second
great-
one 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah. So we are humming along here, making some good progress. As the rule is, you can miss 5 out of the extra. I think it is. Is that I can't remember what is it 6? Okay, so you're lucky 6. So
You can only
so
miss
far,
6 out of the 50 questions. Oh,
Yeah,
No, I'm sorry. You have to get 37 correct.
So yeah, okay. Math is
On-
not
on
our
the
strong
extra.
suit, guys.
I was like, wow, that's a little tough.
The technician in general, you're only allowed to miss 6.
Yeah. Well, so what I did do the pre-test before I really studied after I did the first test. And what did I say? I got like 26 or 24 out of the 50. So I got a good base going. So we'll see.
Cool.
We'll get there.
Hey, it's not bad for this is our 3rd episode into this, so you're doing pretty good here. If we keep it going, we'll have to go back at the very end and review.
Yeah, well, I've done 8 hours of the book on the audio book, and I've got 12 to go. I'm like,
Well,
this
there's only
goes on forever.
650 questions, so
Is that how many there are? 650?
650 questions.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like Ryan said. Slice of pie, actually. I think Ryan likes pie instead of cake. But yeah. Hey, yeah.
I do like pie. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen people like one of my tests, the guy comes in, he did his technician, general, and extra all in one shot. Like, that's crazy.
There are some
figured-
people that will. I've seen once one guy that I went to go test for my general did that, and I was just like, and he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he passed all 3, and I'm like, man, I wish I could be like you.
Photographic memory, like, just reads the book and he just knows it. Yeah.
Yeah. We all can't be like that. All right, cool. Well, hey, that was an awesome, second, attempt there, and so we'll keep plugging away at that. And as always, if you are looking to get your ham radio license, whether you are an existing technician or a general, please definitely head over to Ham Study. And if you are studying, there is a bigger initiative across the interwebs called what they're calling Extra for Easter. But if you're also looking to get your general or technician, you can play along and you can test online if you're ready to do that. So, let us know. We'd love to hear how your progress is, and keep us updated, because if this is helping you, hey, we're all the better. And we know it's definitely helping Todd get closer to getting extra. And, I'm having fun with it too as well. So I guess with that, let's kind of dovetail into our usual, what's your ham radio week like? And starting off with Paul, what's been going on with you? What's your ham radio week like?
Oh boy. Well, it has certainly been a week of learning the hard way on different things. It took me about 3 days of installing and reinstalling the Raspberry Pi desktop software and the ham clock in order to get my ham clock up and running above my desk. But I did finally get it. I found out that the key is being able to SSH from a different computer into the Raspberry Pi and changing the display resolution that way. Then it gets rid of all the black around the ham clock.
Okay.
And then I also had the exciting ability to take part in a VE session Friday morning. It was very early here, but it was noon in Romania. And so there's a unit out of Fort Campbell that is currently in Romania, and 18 soldiers were in a special class. And at the end of their class, as part of their final exam, they took the technician test. And those that wanted to and passed the technician test could also take the general. And so out of the 18 soldiers who tested, we had 14 who passed the technician test, and 2 out of the 14 also got their generals.
Wow.
So
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
You did it.
That's awesome.
That was a ton of fun, and it was very rewarding to take part in a VE session with active duty troops.
Dude, isn't that that's I think so much of the biggest rewarding feeling for me. I know, well, more so I enjoyed, and we'll talk a little bit about Winter Field Day later, but having new technicians get in front of radio and just watch their eyes light up and they're grinning ear to ear, and you got them hooked when they walk away, and then they come back like 10 minutes later and they just want more, and you're like, oh, this is perfect. They're all for it. So, I love to see that stuff, and people test and get, and pass, but more so I like the longer part of the journey too as well. So yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, sorry your ham clock was a little bit of a struggle there, but glad you got that sorted out. So Ryan, what's been going on with your ham week?
I got a couple of different projects cooking right now. So first one is integrating the OHIS headset standard into the Go box. And Mark had come out with a new product that he calls it the contest module. Well, allows 2 operators to plug in independent volume control, headset control, radio control, and it's really slick. But the form factor he's offering it as is it just sits flat. It's like a mixing board, sits flat on the desk. And I'm contemplating taking it apart and kind of re-engineering it into a 1U plate so it can go into the Go box on the front of the radio.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that would be a real nice. The ergonomics, I think, would be better, and it'd all be self-contained, and I don't need to pull it in or out and plug it in. It'd just be all wired up in the within the box. So
now, just curious, the design and the ergonomics, are all the ports on one side of the box itself, or will they all be just like pluggable, or is that just the radio side of stuff that you're hooking up into?
So the radios would be all internal, and then it'd be whatever each person plugs into on the front of the Go box.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, it's I haven't started cutting anything apart yet, but I'm just right in the planning stages. So it'll be neat. It'll kind of be version 2.0.
Well,
and then
you'll have to share with us on that one, just and in your process of that, because I think, our club could benefit, but I love, I'm sure like a ton of our viewers would love to know more about that stuff and getting totally involved in, that whole process. Cause I know that's relatively new, but yeah, cool on that.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
what else you got going on?
And then, so the other one is, so I've had last Christmas, so a year and a month ago, I'd bought a 3D printer, and it's been collecting dust because it's, I got one of the cheaper ones that needed a lot of help. And so I'm finally getting around to starting to work on that. And I figured, well, I got a dedicated computer to it. And so I started moving computers around in the shack, and it's been a headache. So I got a video card to upgrade the one that I want to use for the shack, but then power supplies and connectors and Molex plugs. It's just, I don't do it often enough. So it's a guessing game right now, but I'll be, yeah, go ahead, Todd.
No, that's what happened with me. I got the video card and I needed to get a new power supply, and then I really needed to get a new board, and I ended up getting basically a new computer.
Yes.
So, I just wanted one upgrade. Look what happened. But,
Oh yeah. So, but it'll be nice when it's done. I'll hopefully get it wrapped up this week and get everything moved around. So that is what's been going on this week.
So your 2.0 version of the shack conversion hasn't really occurred. You're like on 1.6 or 1.7 right now, based off all the stuff you're changing.
Well, the big conversion will be when I take everything out and I insulate the floor and insulate the walls and run, 220 for a future amp, and, do the sub panel and get that all wired up. So that'll be a very nice transition. So I'm not cold in the basement anymore.
Warmth by the amplifier.
That's right. Yes.
Well, although what amplifier do you have? Because a lot of the solid state ones I hear are pretty, they cool better than the old tube style. So you might not get the warmth you might really need.
Right. Yeah. So currently I don't have any amp. I'm just running barefoot. So,
okay.
But it'll be, the shack will be wired up for 220. So.
You didn't pull the string on the old,
no, once I get
$1,500 off, it'll come back.
Yeah. Once I have, so we're talking about the flex amp, and once the shack is rebuilt and everything's ready to go, and it'll be plug and play, so I can just order it then.
Yeah.
Well, right, but so then you're still missing that little integral piece that you need the tuner in between, the TGXL, right? So you need the TGXL, which is another, I don't know what number. It's in the 5, but yeah, exactly, 4 or 5 figures, and then you got the PGXL. So yeah, no, it's pretty sweet. We'll have to definitely come over and drill.
Yeah, when it's ready, I'll pull that trigger, but not right now.
All the affordable flex stuff, right?
No, not at all.
Cool. All right. Well, sounds like a few struggles there, but nothing you can't overcome and get closer. So good to hear on the Go box there. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the new interconnect standards, and hopefully we can do an episode on that. And
so
we'll go from there.
Question for you guys. One of the decisions I have to make is, what do you think would be the most predominant type of headset people use at field day? Would it be a electric microphone, a dynamic, or a gaming PC? Because Mark on his website, he has or an XLR. Not going to be using an XLR, but there's 4 different types of microphones that can accommodate, but I have to buy based on what I own. And I own both, dynamic and electric, but I don't know.
So
what do you guys think?
Why don't you just use the headset?
Well, what type of, it depends on what each person has or what they own. Do you have a Heil, regular headset? Did you switch it over to dynamic, or are you using a regular gaming PC? So
this is what I use.
That is dynamic. I know that's dynamic. Yeah. The ICOM only makes one specific Heil 6 Pro 6 or 7. That's electrete. Yeah. So the 7 has the electrete component, which is the what you need to interface with that weird connector or whatever ICOM uses for connectors.
And so on mine, I bought my microphone. I can do either one. So I have both. And I'm drawing a blank on the brand name. What is it? Radio City or Radio?
Radioxity?
No, Radio Sport. No, Radio
Radio
Sport.
Sport,
You're talking
yes.
about the headphones.
Radio
Radio Sport.
So Radio
Yeah.
Sport, that's I'm not sure what type of microphone they have, but so I need to accommodate for whoever's going to be sitting next to the Go box on their specific microphone.
I thought the interconnect standard, at least the box that Smitty was providing, was supposed to be able to handle any headset type, and it was only the radio part that you had to be concerned with.
You still have to configure it, so it can handle it whichever one you purchase.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I basically have to purchase 4 different instead of having. Yeah.
We got to have him on because I think, him explaining the standard a little bit, because I always thought there was just like a 2-box setup. One was for the radio side that was specific to the radio, and then one was the what we'll call client side, which it didn't matter what type of headphone or mic input or whatever interface you were interfacing to. That box was then supposed to be able to talk to that other box that was supposed to interface with the radio. But that's how I interpreted. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. Picture schematics come in handy here. So that's when I'll be doing some arts and craft with some drafting program here to sketch it out. But it'll be neat when it's all connected.
Cool.
Well, as a proud member of Team ICOM, I gotta say, electorate.
All right.
AARP, you mean?
There you go.
No, so we joke tongue in cheek here, but we all love radios. Every radio is loved by all of us. Doesn't matter whether
Eric,
you're
that's so PC. That's so PC.
You know what? Come on, dude. I'm just trying to make friends here, and not enemies. We know ICOMs are 20-year-old technology and still superior to what Yaesu can put out in the market today. Even though their radios are less than 5 years old, but it's not the age that counts.
True story.
So, all right, cool. Well, I'll have to make sure I make a note here to circle back around, see if we can get Smitty on to have him chit chat about that stuff. I think we have a blast talking about some of those things. I mean, he definitely would geek out and go way over our heads in terms of the conversation, but it might be a very good one at that. So we'll have to get that on the plan there. So,
absolutely
cool. Well, yeah, looking forward to your Go box there and see where we go. And we'll definitely have to dive deeper into that rat hole, because we all know that once Ryan does something, we're all going to follow suit just shortly after. So it's all good. So with that, well, over to our esteemed general. What's going on with your Ham Radio week?
Well, speaking of Go boxes, Friday, if everything works out, I'll be starting that over with Ryan. Took the day off, and I think he's off, so we're gonna start that off. But what I've done, and I was very psyched about it, is I had to bring my mother on Wednesday to the airport down in Logan, and on the way back, I stopped at Constitution Beach State Park, which is right at the end of the Logan runway. Planes are taking off and leaving. There's a train station, trains going by. It's quite noisy, and
noisy for sure.
I was told that it's a tough park to activate just because there's a lot of interference. And of course, I get there at 4:00, and there's a big sign that says this park closes at 5:00. Now I'm like, I'm doing it. I went there over the summer, didn't do it. It was buggy. It was hot. There's a lot of people playing music. I'm like, nope, I'm doing it. So I set up, just hoping to maybe get 10. Well, 38 minutes. It's a new record for me. 64 contacts on 20 years. Yeah.
Nice job.
It was.
Damn.
It was. I called CQ 3 times, and on the 3rd time, it was just a pile up, and I could have kept going, but the park ranger pulled up next to me because I was in my car. My antenna was out the passenger side window, and I'm in my car, and I'm doing a thing, and he just looks at me. Doesn't say a word, doesn't roll down his... I go, I gotta go. He's like, yep. So I had to go, and someone's like, can I just get... I go, I gotta go. The ranger goes, just one more. So I worked one last station. I know, I'm always guilty of it. Yep. And packed everything up. I didn't even get to put the stuff down. I had to throw it all in the back of the Jeep. My antenna's not even half taken down. I drove out of the park. He locked the gate, and I was parked on the side in East Boston, putting all my stuff back together. And I didn't even I really, honestly, I didn't even know until I kind of had an idea, but then when I actually looked at it and I looked at the times, I was like, that's amazing. I mean, I was getting 2 or 3 a minute,
Wow.
nonstop. Like, it was
Well
crazy.
done.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good activation, and it was
How,
on the.
how was the propagation? Was it healthy?
Yeah, I was on 20 meters, and it was I had no noise, and it was pretty good. There was a guy who probably slowed me down a little bit because I could have had a few more. He was given only the suffix of a call sign, and he was coming in like 5'9", and every time I tried to get the other guy that I was working, he'd throw out this thing, and I told him, I said, listen, SPD or whatever you were. I said, if you interrupt me again, I'm never answering you. So I'll get you next. So then I worked the guy, and then I said, okay, the station ending in SPD, and I get nothing. And then the next guy I got, he goes, that guy's not a legit ham. He's just on there. He was doing that to us the other day too.
Oh, wow.
So he just interrupts you as you're doing it, but he's not he doesn't have a call sign. He just makes up the letters or whatever. So I was that was the only the little flutter, but besides that, it was great. This was the first time I actually had to call out K's only, W's only, N's only, because I couldn't. There's just too many. It just turned into blur.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So next time you have a rogue operator there, jumping on you, should throw some, come back to him and say, hey, we know how locate you. We're going to do a DF steer and pinpoint your location. And,
We're always watching.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fun though. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting maybe, hopefully just to activate the park, and it was much better. So it was good. And I hadn't been out since New Year's Day, so I was kind of itching. If I don't get out and do a POTA at least once or twice a month, I start thinking I forget how to do ham radio, but that wasn't the case. And then winter field day, I worked the overnight, and I got like 84 contacts, working my flex through my iPad while I was at work.
As a home user?
As a home user. And most of the people I got were home users in the middle of the night, 3, 4 in the morning. So I did like an hour or so, and then I took a break, and then I did 80 and 40. And I kind of, like hunted, like I went after the stations that were calling CQ, and then I decided to call CQ. It's more fun calling CQ once you get people to answer you.
Todd, I was down in the hotel during winter field day, on the iPad using my flex, and I had a blast. It was the first time using it. I have not set up. I need to either get some Apple earpods or some.
All right, hold on.
So aside from the audio issue of just having to talk through the iPad, it was really neat. So I worked this one guy who's down in Florida here, and I was talking to him, and he thought I was up in New Hampshire. And so I'm looking him up on QRZ as I was talking to him, and he was literally like 2 blocks down the road from me. So my hotel was right up the road from him. So,
so you were working him from New Hampshire, but he was literally,
right down the road from the hotel. So.
You should have gone down and knocked on his door. Hey, thanks for the contact.
Oh, he was in Florida, but yeah.
He had quite the setup, so it wouldn't have been difficult to find it in the neighborhood. So
I got, Ryan, what I use at work, I got this Blue Parrot headset, right? And this thing is designed for iPhones and iPads. It says it right on it. It works awesome. I like it. It only has one, headset, but it's kind of good for me because I got to hear if the kids wake up or whatever. So, and then I got this
Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's Bluetooth.
Okay.
There's no delay or anything. It works really well, and the battery lasts forever. And then I forget what this thing is called, but it's a little button, and it if you go on to the Flex Radio in the middle, there's that thing that has all the things. It has this button on it. I got it on Amazon. It's like $20.
Yep.
But this is to push to talk.
Okay.
So I leave it on my fingers. I go check the kids that are sleeping every 15 minutes. I'm waiting to pile up, and then I have the headset on. It's Bluetooth. I could just call it right in there. And it was kind of like ironic. Like every time I'm trying to make the contact. I got to go check the kids, and then I'm halfway across the room, and I call, and the guy calls me back. I got to run back to log them in.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing is really, I mean, it's definitely, I love it for the iPad, because when I started using my iPad, I was just using bone conducting my headphones and people were complaining about the audio and saying that it wasn't working right. So I ended up getting these. I did some research on it, and now everyone's like, yeah, your audio is great. So
cool. Yeah, we'll have to post that link on our site there.
Yeah, and I don't know if this one has the noise. I think it might have noise canceling too. I'm not sure.
Just for one ear, right?
Yeah, for one ear.
Yeah.
Well, I think more for the mic, like it muffles out the the external sound, such as
there's a couple options. I just needed to bring something with me so I can plug in. So
yeah, I tell you, it's awesome, especially when the bands are going and I got nothing to do. And then if you're ever like out or up like me and you're bored, you just put on 80 meters and you'll be very entertained. I think I'm going to make some videos of that, because you'd be surprised of what people are fighting about on 80 meters at 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, why aren't you people sleeping?
I've heard it. It's crazy. So, Hey, Eric, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what you got?
What do you have cooking for 2024? There's a lot of things going on, and what do you have cooking on your calendar? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I guess before we dive into the topic, I think the host should figure out what's with my ham radio week. But we had this discussion when George was on. He felt my pain and understood that, just skip right over the host. No big deal. Yeah, just quick summary since Ryan's hot to trot there to get into the topic tonight. So, I've been struggling with my FTM 300, audio receive woes. Audio just totally cut out, disappear, and I've been beating my head against, my dash, constantly trying to figure out whether it was just a radio, a switch panel, the whole 9 yards. Long story short, I dug out another 300 I bought for satellite work and threw it in place, and magically the speaker's working 100%. So all of the undoing of wires and everything, so I emailed Yaesu using Todd's suggestion, and they got back to me, and so that unit's going to be shipped off tomorrow. So I'm hoping to get that fixed, hopefully maybe under warranty. I don't know, it's like really close, so we'll see how that one goes. But I sadly have bad news, because in all of that big craziness of trying to get my 300 to work, my All-Star Clear Node 0 and that I have in the truck, the SD card basically cooked itself from too many reboots. So the problem with the clear nodes that people that have them might know is that it's a custom, firmware flash, and the only place that can do it is the guy who creates a clear node. So I got an email out to him. Hopefully he can flash my card again or send me on another one. I can send them back this one, or something in the process to get that back up and running. So, I was kind of bummed about that, because I was looking for, to get contacts or back onto the All-Star, network again. And mentioned earlier about the whole Winter Field Day stuff that Todd kind of touched on. I was super psyched with our Winter Field Day. Now, we did, it's probably kind of the most ragtag kind of put together, whatever, scenario we did. But we had a blast. I know Paul was there, and he did the whole overnight, did a video on it. You can go check that one out. Paul made the intro there, but for his 3 seconds of fame, as they say. But the big highlights that I love, the fact that we had 2 brand new technicians show up, a whole family actually, and they spent the whole entire Saturday there playing radio, hanging out, having a blast. And the wife, Christine, and we don't have her call sign yet. She's still waiting for that to come in. She was on HF, making contacts left and right, dealing pile-ups. She was phenomenal in the whole process. And go ahead, Ryan, you had a question?
Well, I was just going to comment. So Paul was with Christina, and they were, working
10 meters.
10 meters. Yeah, was it 10 meters?
It was 10 meters.
So I was in the hotel on the Flex through the iPad, and I was working them back and forth. So.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Contact with them.
Yeah, and you came through fantastic, by the way. Like it was crystal clear.
I was only, 20 miles away.
Yeah. Hey, who did I work you, Paul, at night? Who did I work at night? I worked the club. I don't know who it was though.
Well, it would have been either probably me or John.
Yeah. I don't know.
What is it? Casey won IBL.
Yeah,
that
but it
it?
was. But I only
ICL.
got the club call sign. I
Well,
couldn't hear.
which band was it on? 20?
40.
Oh, so it might have been. I don't know. It might have been you, probably Paul. I'll have to go back and look at logs, but yeah, it could have been.
Yeah,
Paul.
I don't know. I was just curious, but yeah, that yeah, that's pretty cool. I saw Eric. I saw your video on your YouTube page, and yeah, that the wife, I'm guessing. And Paul's like, wow, she's even worked a small pile up.
Oh,
Like she was cruising, like no fear, like right into it. That was awesome. So,
Yeah,
well, and then
you can talk a little bit about it.
yeah, it was so amazing, right? Because you know, like I walked her through the kind of the script of field day and how to call CQ, and so you know, after she called for about a half an hour, you know, she kind of had it down pat. But then her 10-year-old daughter came in, and she was kind of looking over her shoulder and you know, interested. So Christina says to her, she says, "Well, do you want to try it?" And I said, "Well, here, let me write out a new script," because we had, you know, crossed out things and wrote over things on the script that Christina was using. So I wrote it nice and clear on a fresh sheet of paper. And yeah, I mean, it took her a little bit, but man, it was something special to see a 10-year-old girl get so excited to start making contacts on HF. And so I think she'll be the next newest technician.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. She and I wish I caught it on video. She had that one contact I kind of walked in on the last minute where she was talking to another guy, and the other guy on the other end really realized that she was just new to this whole process. And he, like, if I could figure out what his call sign was or the club call sign, I want to just send him an email and tell him thank you, because he was so gracious, so like encouraging, so like, you know, glad this is your first contact, was really super patient through the whole process, so she like didn't have to feel like she was messing up or screwing up, and you know, she was just like grinning ear to ear when she finally got off that whole thing. And I was just like, oh yes, this is exactly what I like to see.
Yeah, no, it was great. For the most part, the stations that she was answering, or the stations that were answering her CQ, were very patient and understanding that, you know, it was clearly a young voice on the air. And you could tell that, you know, there was a bit of an experience there, and everybody was very, very patient with her, and very encouraging.
Cool. Yeah, and I don't want to, like, I can't dive into too much about the CW stuff, but I know Tim, who is our, you know, he's been on, I can't remember what episode it was with us, but he's been on other times too as well on our live streams. He finally dived into the CW foray, and him and another club member took it on and ran our club call doing CW, and they did phenomenal, and they were having a blast over in their tent. So it was just, you know, fun all around and great memories. So I was like, that's exactly what I wanted out of field day. You know, I'm not a big points guy. I don't really care what our score is. You know, I enjoy setting up antennas and, you know, hanging out and socializing, but more so playing radio. That just makes it so much better for me. So yeah, that was what my ham radio week was like. And so that was it in a nutshell. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah, a shout out to Tim, KC1 QDK. He took my son Zach, and he taught him how to do his name in CW.
Oh,
so,
very cool.
And he had a key set up where you could actually hear it. It wasn't broadcasting, so he worked it. Zach was talking about. He came home and told everyone, "Oh, I did my name," and
very cool.
So he was pretty psyched about that.
Cool. All right, so to dive into tonight's topic. So Ryan, what was your question about 2024 and whatnot? And I can try to.
Well, so what are you guys looking forward to in 2024? Are there any highlights you want to make sure you absolutely accomplish? And kind of what's your big picture viewpoint looking forward?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's loaded, but I'll try to give it in small snippets, and then maybe we can kind of dive around and add to it. My biggest thing, I guess, for 2024 for me is, you know, and I'm going to have to pull Todd into this one with me. Is I want to get our dual kilo. I think that's going to be the biggest target that I'm going to be shooting for. And it's short term, and I would assume before field day we should have our dual kilo, but if everything goes well and the weather turns to better, spring, like weather, I'm definitely going to be out there working, the rail trail and trying my hardest to get that. And I know I can do it pretty quickly because I did one for my Reed's Ferry one, and that one worked. I got that done in literally 3 days. So I think once we kind of spread the word a little bit more and, people start hearing us more, Todd, as we get closer, we'll, all of a sudden it'll in short term, we'll be there. So that's the biggest thing for me. I've got some smaller stuff that we can touch upon, but, I'm curious to see, where you guys got it. So, passing the baton, where are you at, Ryan, with your 2024?
Yeah, I picked my dates.
Yeah, excellent. So, it's kind of three different categories or a couple different categories. One is the expos. So there's many options we have in the U.S. here, big and small, local and national. And then, there's the shack projects. What do you want to do around the shack and get built and assembled and all that? And then the third one is things like, the POTA events and the SOTA and the club field day and those fun social activities. So, for me at around the shack, I have a big interest in getting a big square loop NVIS antenna set up. So I've been cracking the league radio book and kind of doing some more research and poking around on websites and seeing what other people have done and what's worked well for them. And so I'm putting some thought into that. But for me, the big thing is actually starting and getting the momentum going for some POTA. So
that'd be awesome.
Yep. I definitely want to start with some sodas. There's a bunch, we live in New Hampshire. We've got some great mountains. So, Todd, I took your advice and I got the that tactical backpack. So I can pack the 705 and the buddy stick and all the accessories into one bag. And it's not super lightweight, but it's
what
portable.
bag? Curious, which bag?
511.
Yeah, the 511. Yep,
Good
37 liters. It's
wow.
real sturdy. It's one size up larger than Todd's.
All right.
And
we had talked, and I had said that everything fits. Like, I don't have any room for really anything else if I bring it all. So I said, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably get a little bit bigger one. But,
yep. So
we'll throw show notes in the show note links there too as well. So if you're looking for that one.
So for me is actually pulling the trigger and getting some SOTA and POTA accomplished. So that'll be the big thing.
Let me ask you, SOTA, POTA. So POTA, yeah, I can get it. I mean, like between the three of us here, and I would say Paul is a big proponent of Russell Abbott. That's a great place to start. And that's literally probably right down the street from you. And I know Todd and I could throw in, everything. But so back to SOTA, I'm curious because I wanted to start to do SOTA, but I know I got to work my hiking legs first before I start thinking about actually doing a point, or something similar. So are you looking to do something more smaller, or are you like really going big guns?
Well, I'd probably start off, first mountain will be Monadnock, because that's you can run up Monadnock in under an hour. And
we'll meet you up there.
Yeah.
If you can run.
We'll start the POTA activation and you can hike up and do the SOTA.
And then, once, so that'll be a trial run and then start hitting the White Mountains. There's 48 peaks. So
I know a lot.
So those of you that don't know Pac Monadnock, you can actually drive up there. Eric and I have gone up there a few times too. But I know on SOTA you can't drive.
No, so I'm Monadnock, not Pac Monadnock.
Oh, the bigger one. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, my bad.
You might have to helicopter in on Mount Monadnock, but hey, whatever.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, Eric, some New Hampshire White Mountains. So,
okay,
cool.
Now that means I have to redefine my whole backpack scenario now. Well, the question was like, Paul, you've got a backpack. You boiled yours down, right? I think you said you got it down to less than 30 pounds.
Yeah. So the original bag is now my my 7300 bag. So if I'm gonna pack the 7300 instead of the 891, I have the bigger bag, which I'll throw the link in. It's the same bag that a lot of the guys are using. It was an HRO bag, the Expedition something. It's a really nice bag. It's tall, but the wife got me it's almost like a swimming bag. So the outside is all waterproof, and the bottom opens up, and if you've got anything that's wet, you can put it in the bottom, and it keeps it completely separate from everything else. But it's got a lot of smaller compartments and things, which is what I wanted for organization. So now the 891 POTA bag is about 20 to 25 pounds, and it's very minimalist. And yeah, it's just a 12 amp hour battery, the Reliance bug out end fed half wave, no tuner needed or anything. So it's just my little tablet for logging on hammers. And yeah, I plan to maybe rope Ryan in this year, because since we're talking about 2024 goals, one of the things that's been on my bucket list for several years, and my body hasn't cooperated, is to hike Tuckerman's and then set up on the top of Mount Washington and transmit. And that's going to be my first SOTA.
Awesome.
Well, Todd and I will drive up Mount Washington. You guys can hike Tuckerman's. Todd
I'll
and I
drive
will
that one. Yeah.
Sign me up. That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Well, remember, this is all recorded, guys. So we got to make sure that, people do listen.
It'll be like, so what's your 2028 thing? I'm going to go up to Tuckerman's.
Now, so Ryan, we'll put it in the books for July.
Okay.
That works.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Good weather up there in July.
I'm making note of it right now.
All right.
July, Mount Washington.
July, Mount Washington.
You might want to put the year there. Put 2024. So you're like, was that 2030?
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm all about getting in shape this year.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Yep.
So I got a few things I want to do. Like, one for us in the club is I want to do the 24-hour POTA activation, I think, at Greenfield State Park. I think that would be fun. Kind of be like an extra little field day. Just start calling CQ, use club call sign, or if we get a call sign. You said, Eric, we might be able to get a call sign for the date.
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
working
podcast.
on that for our club. So eventually the Lift Free and Ham podcast will be not an ARL affiliated club, but a ARL, acknowledged club. So we'll have our own club call sign. So stay tuned for some of that. Then we'll share more once we get there.
Either one, and just kind of see if we can activate the park for 24 hours and maybe spread the word. And I've spread it a little bit, but I got to call the ranger, and they're a little slow this time of year because I've dealt with it with the float fly there. So I think by next month they start answering calls and making decisions and see what they say. And then as for the shack, I've got a few things I got to do. I pretty much got my computer and everything all set. My radio is working well, but I do need to do the grounding and the line input, with the box. And then the other big thing is my DX Commander that's still sitting in the box. That is going up.
Okay, Mr. Ham Radio 2.0.
Huh?
We'll call you Ham Radio Jason 2.0.
Oh, because he's got his in the box. Yeah.
He's got supposed to in a box. What are you talking about? He's got the first version and then like the latest one that Lord Callum sent him.
Yeah, well, it's sitting here, and it's I think mine's the newer one. I got it in the spring last year, so it's only a year old. But
just real quickly, I haven't followed. What did he change? What's new on it? Is it minor changes or major? Or?
Three things. He's changed the spreader plates. They're different. What he calls the doingies are now actually different. And then the collar connectors where you separate and twist the mast, there's now like a collar lock to each of the masts to keep it from collapsing. So, and he did that across, I think, all of the models, including the Expedition too. So,
cool.
That definitely gets them. And the plates are black, so they blend in with the antenna, which is nice.
I really want to get a vertical. I mean, I've had a lot of luck on my vertical on my for my POTA
wire.
So what?
I was gonna say your wire antenna, but yeah.
No. I mean, when we're doing POTA, I'm always on the vertical, right? Or most of the time. So I wonder if getting a vertical, if I'm going to be able to maybe pull out more West Coast stations. I don't know. We'll see.
During field day, when I set up my crank IR, it's a vertical. It's awesome. It performs really well.
Yeah.
And, routinely we'll get, California on the mighty 7,300 100 watts at field day. It's great.
Yeah, well, Flex was on a wire, was getting New Zealand and stuff on 20 meters, which was, they're nowhere to be found anymore. It's like depressing. Yeah. I look for them. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll hear them. Because over the summer, it was like every station was Australia and New Zealand. Like you had your pick there. I was getting bored with them. Now I'm like, oh, it'd be great to work one of them again. But they'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's basically, those are the two things really I want to do. I'm hoping I don't have baseball. And even if I do have baseball, I might just tell them I'm away that weekend. And I really want to just enjoy field day, do the whole thing and stay there, hang out, and not have to be back and forth like I have been.
And you'll get to be an extra on field day.
Oh, what'd you say?
You'll get to be an extra on field day.
Yeah, we'll hope. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Well, the club calls an extra, so at least have
that. Yeah, but someone will have to be sitting with me. No one stays up at 4 a.m. Remember that one year I get in the tent and I come out and like, what the hell is everyone? There's no fire going on. Like nowhere. It's like black. I don't have my flashlight and there's no one around.
We're all getting our Z's. We work the whole entire day.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, what about some expos? There any you want to visit again? There any the bigger national ones you want to attend? What are your thoughts on that?
Man,
I'd love to go to one of the big ones.
Both of them, or just one?
Ideally, I'd like to go to all of them, but I would just enjoy one. Would be, I think, a good start, and I just think it'd be awesome. Like at least one where there's all the vendors are. Yeah,
coming up right around the corner, February 9th to the 11th is Hamcation down in Orlando, Florida. And then the next big one is Hamvention, May 17th and 19th. That's out in Dayton, Ohio. Then there's the CPAC all the way over on the left coast in Oregon, May 31st to June 2nd. We have the Ham Exposition in Mass, August 22nd to the 25th. There is Pacificon, San Ramon, California, October 18th to the 20th. I tried looking on the website. There's the, which I attended 2 times in the past, the QSO Today Academy, the virtual expo. And that was really cool. They didn't have a date posted for this year yet. So I'm hoping they do.
They changed the format around. They aren't doing that any longer. Yeah, now it's just kind of a sign-on, gated, kind of all year round type thing.
Oh, really? Huh. Yeah. I must have missed that. I enjoyed it in the past. I thought that was a great idea.
Is that the one?
Yeah, it was all virtual online. It was kind of Zoom.
Right. And they had all the different classes or whatever, the presentations.
And obviously it was geared towards, the whole COVID experience. And then, there's the smaller Near Fest for New England, April 25th and 26th. The spring one is only going to be Thursday and Friday. I think they're going to expand it out again on the fall version. And then June 22nd and 23rd is the weekend for field day. So that's kind of what's on the calendar. And I don't know if, based on my work schedule and everything, if I have time, I hit some of the big ones, but definitely Ham Exposition, the Near Fest, and obviously field day are on the calendar for me. But Paul, what do you think? What's
Well, so all right. So I had a question, right?
Sure.
Now, for those of us like myself who have never been to a hamvention of any sort, shape, or form, like what should we expect when we go to these events for the first time? I mean, is it like going to the Hollis flea market?
I'd say
Near Fest is like that.
Yeah.
Near Fest is a ham radio flea market. Is
Correct.
The best way to describe it.
Versus if you drive the other direction, similar distance down to in Mass to the Ham Exposition, they have a lot more seminars and talks, and it's much more educational. So that one's fascinating. But it's not until you get to the big ones, the Hamcation, the Hamvention, where all the big manufacturers show up and are showing the latest and greatest of what they're pushing to the public. So,
well, there's a size thing too. Like Ham
right.
Expo up by us is growing, I'll say, but like on terms of scale, it's really just like a couple of conference rooms and a few small side places, and then a small flea market or kind of ham trade kind of thing in the parking lot. You go to like Dayton, and this is only what I see online, but you go to Dayton or you go to Hamcation, and it's like acres and acres of like flea market, but then like they have 5 outbuildings and 5 manufacturers, and everybody's like doing their like latest and greatest of like new toys, and all the guys like Flex and Elecraft, and everybody shows up. It's like almost mandatory if you want to make up yourself known to show up to either of those events. And the other one too, that did we mention what was the other one down in Mississippi? It's
I did not mention that. I saw it listed. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I'm just forgetting. A lot of the YouTubers go to that one, and they do a POTA activation out there. But that's kind of the thing is, when you go to these events, you walk around the expos, and then you kind of hit the flea markets, and then maybe hit a few kind of symposiums or talks.
Yep.
So the really big ones are set up kind of like a SHOT Show kind of exposition, where you've got all the different vendors and they're showing their latest and greatest. But then the smaller ones are more flea market style.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's in Marlboro, there's a smaller flea market, like maybe 2 rows of people selling stuff.
Parking lot.
Where Near Fest, it's like the whole thing is, they might have 1 or 2 classes, but it's all everyone's selling everything and anything. So if you're like a collector of old stuff, like there's some really cool stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you could probably find anything you need. A lot of people, you do a lot of networking, local people, New England, you talk to and see what's going on. So, but you have to go in there and knowing what you want, because there's just so much stuff. So if you're looking for, like I was looking for, what was I looking for? A dummy load. And I just never got one when I went to Marlboro because I finally got one, but I think I got one from I got it when I bought that antenna, didn't I? How did I get my dummy
candy
load?
store?
No. Where did I get it from?
You must have, or buy it from Bill, maybe. I don't know.
Somehow I got a dummy load. I got it from that guy. The guy that I bought the antenna for the HF.
You mean the one wearing the trench coat, actually selling you stuff on the back alley?
No, the guy you gave it to me in the box. Remember, he was selling it.
Oh yeah. So the other ham that was selling stuff on our Discord, got it.
Yeah. So I got that. I got the antenna and I got a keyer that he threw in there. So I was like, sweet. But yeah, we did at Marlboro. We did a live podcast when we first started last year.
Yeah,
and that was fun.
Hopefully we'll be there this year
hopefully
too.
We'll do it again. So that was kind of cool. We were kind of going live, and then we were interviewing some people and stuff. So that was kind of fun. And but yeah, I want to go to one of the big ones. And then what I was talking about is I don't know if it was Jason from Ham Radio 2.0, but you know how he does that overlander stuff. I guess there is a big show in like Arizona or New Mexico or something.
Quartz Fest.
But he said there's a lot of hams there, and it's like it's almost like a combination of 2. It's like the overlander and the hams together, and there's a lot of ham radios, stuff going on there too. So
yeah,
we should
just there's plenty of reasons then for somebody who's never gone to a hamvention type of event to attend for the first time.
So like Near Fest for us, the club gets together, we go get breakfast. Where is that? Mary Ann's, or is that what it's called, Eric?
Yeah,
Joe's.
A local cafe nearby.
Yeah.
Joe's.
So you go get, oh, is it Joe's? You go get breakfast. Is it Mary Ann's? What is that? What is that?
Mary Ann's is in Derry.
All right, no, never mind. Well, there's one here in Amherst now too. They took over another diner. But anyway, you go do that, and then Eric and I went up. Everyone skies their own way. Then you run into everyone when you're up there, and so it's fun. It's definitely it's a good time. It's if you want to sell stuff, you can sell stuff there too if you want.
Yeah.
I got my general in Marlboro. So that was
yeah, that's the
those
other thing
guys
too. Like a larger ham fests usually tend to have like the actual
testing.
testing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think for my vantage point, like Dayton would be great. I know we kind of tossed around the idea of, maybe doing a private fly to set Dayton as a, maybe as a live free and ham. We'll have to not plan for this year, but the year after, maybe someday on the bucket list. But
hey Ryan, is the Gulfstream in use that day?
Do we know a pilot?
We are space limited, so.
Well, 4, right? So there is 4 hosts, correct?
Well, in order to make it nonstop to carry the fuel, it'd be 2 adults, and that's it. So,
And I'd have to lose a ton of weight because I probably count as 2.
All right, we're doing a road trip then.
There you go, road trip. Yep.
That'll probably be.
I'll drive.
Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah, so Dayton would definitely be, everyone always says go to at least once, and I'm sure I'll probably, put it on my bucket list someday. Hamcation, probably the same thing. I'm more of a social guy. I like to be able to hang out and, do stuff at those types of events. And you can usually, but a lot of times it's just, there's just a mob of people and, most people are there for like Todd said, you got to get a radio, you got to get a, part or whatever. And you just kind of fight and struggle to, find the right stuff at the right timing. And then, you get to see all the great toys, but, it's the 21st century. They do all that online now. So, that's kind of, so I'd go for the social aspect of anything.
Yep.
Well, I could see, especially for someone like myself who likes to try and do everything on a shoestring budget and get, as much used equipment as possible and make it still work. You could save a few dollars by attending an event like that and being patient and kind of taking a look at everything.
Or it could totally backfire on you and be like, wow, look at all this cool stuff. I'm totally broke now.
Yeah.
The norm, but yeah.
Who was that guy at our club meeting was it Dennis? And he was saying that how he buys the stuff. He wants one thing, he buys the whole thing, and then he sells the other stuff and he ends up getting it. Right? Wasn't he talking? Was that him?
He goes into estate sales and he buys like a gazillion piece of random radio gear, takes what he wants, parts it out and sells it off again. And he did a great video on GSAR's website if you ever want to check it, called The Life of a Horse Trader.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, that was actually a very good presentation.
Yeah, I like that one. It was good.
Yeah. So have you been to any of those large events at all, Paul?
I've never been to any of those events.
Okay. So you're definitely.
I guess you're coming to Near Fest in Marlboro this year.
Yeah.
Well, so I will say this: I avoid Massachusetts like the plague. So I'm happy to ride with somebody else.
Yeah, we'll drive down there.
I'm born and raised in Mass, so I can handle it.
Yeah, I don't mind driving in Mass. I just really it does something to my anxiety for whatever reason. My anxiety level goes through the roof as soon as I cross the border. I can go to Maine and feel comfortable and fine. I can go to Vermont and feel comfortable and fine, but I cross that southern border and it just gives me all kinds of anxiety.
Yeah,
we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, I remember. Well, horse traders is kind of funny, and we should maybe touch upon this one. I keep calling it horse traders. It's not horse traders. Near Fest this year, they ended up having a snafu, and I was kind of surprised by it. But at the same time, it's always been kind of a small venue, so they are shifting their usual dates. It's usually like a Friday, Saturday, and the big thing with Near Fest is that everybody comes on Friday, sets up, and then sleeps overnight because it's basically a kind of a four seasons. Not 4 seasons, 4 square, but whatever that horse, animal kind of program is.
4-H.
Yes, yeah, right. It's like 4 seasons. That's a hotel. So in all of that, they've been doing it for a while there. For what I recall, and they always would set up on Friday, and the big intrigue was, you go set up and you set up inside and you camp there overnight all day Saturday, and then you leave late Saturday. Well, they ended up having a problem with scheduling. And so now they're sliding into Thursday, Friday. And like, I don't know about you, dude, I work, you know, I don't think I'm going to be going this year, which is kind of a bummer. Anybody planning on attending,
Well, that's just for the spring one. I'm hoping they get it sorted out for the fall event. And I've found over the years, the fall Near Fest tends to be a little bit more visited by everyone. So,
yeah,
I'm hoping the fall one will be the one we're used to.
Yeah, I'm hoping too on the other side too is like with this insurge of new hams and people, starting to really get into the hobby and seeing more of it, we'll see more people, the draw will be, a little bit bigger. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. I don't know. Thursday for me, like Thursday, Friday thing, it's going to be really tough because it's like I enjoyed like having Friday because I could schedule everything in the week, and then Friday I'd be like, oh, I got the ham fest, and everybody's all good. But Thursday, Friday is going to be a bummer. Well, it'll sure definitely be a smaller draw, and we'll have to, like you said, Ryan, shoot for the fall. But so
speaking of new hams, I was at my flying club had the Frozen Fingers, which is an event that we put on every February. And one of the guys that I've been friends with for a while since I joined the club, he had taken a break and he's now back, but he was one of the guys that taught me how to fly. And I was telling him about how I got into ham radio. He goes, "Oh, I'm a ham." Like, "You are?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I've never done anything with it." He goes, "I got my technician license," and he's still active. He's got a call sign. I'm like, "Well, you should come hang out with me once." I'm like, "I can show you some. There's a lot of fun stuff going on now." So it's funny, like I couldn't believe it. Like, there's a lot of people out there that get their license and they don't do anything with it. So, and I also saw Bob Cushman he used to own Cushcraft Antennas. Oh, wow. He's still kicking around, and I've known him. He's friends with my parents. They have old cars together. Bob's got an amazing car collection. And his other hobby is flying model airplanes. So I've flown a lot of planes with him, and he was there. So it was good to see him. And he asked how the ham radio stuff was going. I said, "Yep, it's going good. Technology is getting better." And yeah, so it's all good.
Why aren't you on the air more?
Well, it's not time. I try. I'm on the repeater a lot. Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
yeah. He said he's got his he's done with it. I mean, he's just like he brings his chair down to fly the plane because he says, "I can't stand up and look up. I get too dizzy." Yeah. He's in his 80s, but he's a good guy. He's got a lot of neat stories, and his father created that company when he was a kid. And when he was a kid, like when you and I were probably playing in the sandbox, he was making antennas, and he took it over from his father, and then I think he ended up selling it to like MFJ or something.
Yeah,
I don't know who he sold it to, but the you go over by the airport where there's a St. Mary's Bank. That was the Cushcraft like plant right there in the Manchester airport. It's now a bank, but I drove over there when I took him to the airport once. He was going to see his daughter out in Colorado or something, and he goes, "Oh, let's go over to the bank. I'll show you where everything was." And so, but yeah, he's got some cool stories.
Cool. Well, so what we got the last topic. I guess we want to talk briefly because we could get really down a rabbit hole fast. It would be the shacks. Like what big thing do we all want to move on this year, 2024, with shacks?
Okay, moving on.
Yes, sir.
Well, like I said, I need to get my grounding done, and I need some help with that. So Ryan's hopefully we'll find some time and get that done. And I've been working on my shack pretty much, last 6 months, and I think I've got it where I need it to be. And like I said, I'm get that done, and then I'll have to find something else to do to it.
Yeah, cool. How about you, Ryan?
My big thing, Shack's gone through a whole bunch of changes past several months, new radios and just layout and everything. I need to get to the state of just being comfortable operating everything, getting profiles set up on the Flex. I still want to get Node Red configured. And I don't want to be super automated. It'd be more of a helper and an aid for, profiles, tuning, spin the tower, and I don't know, just kind of get a lot of the bigger bugs worked out, and I can get back to just rag chewing and contesting and playing FT8 and everything else that's associated with sitting in the shack. So, so I just need to spend more time down here and focused on this instead of rest of life. You know, it keeps getting in the way. Yeah.
Tell the family to put it on pause.
Right. So
cool. How about you? Yeah,
yeah.
Good. Keep going.
I was just going to say that's the big picture for this year.
Nice. Well, yeah, all of those check my boxes too, but not at your scale. Just a little different. How about you, Paul?
Well, so I share Ryan's sentiment, right? And the desk is in a constant state of evolution, and I feel like I'm not able to truly enjoy sitting here and playing radio lately. You know, I'm working on several different projects all at once. As far as the shack goes, I'm trying to get the ICOM 7300 set up so that I can remote in. And not only could I remote in, but I could also give access to soldiers who are deployed that are ham radio operators that want access to a radio, and say I could then send them, you know, the IP and the login, and then they could access my radio from wherever they're deployed. So I want to do that, and I want to get I just want to get things a little bit smoother, you know, get to where, you know, video editing, which right now I'm very much in the infant stage of learning, you know, is a little bit more comfortable, so it's not so time consuming, and I'm not sitting here wasting time trying to learn things, and I'm able to actually just sit here and enjoy the radio.
Yes. So basically what you're really saying is that you want a QA, you know, ham shack where you could do all the mess ups to, and then you just want it to automatically forklift itself right into production, so you could just pull right up and, you know, okay, I'm ready to operate.
Yeah. And even, you know, I mean, I was thinking about it, and it's like, you know, is it a matter of, you know, getting an additional computer to interface with the radio in a different way, and you know, how do I figure all this? But I digress. Anyways, it's a never-ending evolution, and it's all a ton of fun. So I think I'm right there with Ryan, and I just want to get things set so that I can sit here and I enjoy a rag chew.
Yeah, yeah. That is, just preaching to the choir, man. Because I'm like sitting here going, like, I feel like I'm in not a comfortable sweater. I'm in, like, you know, my dress up clothes every time I sit in front of this, you know, computer, because there's always something that I'm a little bit off. It's not really right, or, you know, the radio's just not like fully, you know, what I'll call baked in. And you're preaching. Both of you guys are preaching my where I'm at, because, you know, it's sort of okay, but it's not right. It just doesn't feel like comfortable, and that's, you know, what I think I'd like to shoot for. But I think for me, I really want to start to set up more. I personally, you know, outside of, you know, my shack, I think the automation piece is a big thing for me. I finally, I spent like this entire weekend just doing a rip out of other, you know, or not a rip out, a reorganization of a lot of my stuff and cabling, and went through all of my inventory and relabeled stuff, because I was tired of finding, you know, that I would go into my ham boxes and spend 25 minutes rifling through stuff going, oh, I forgot I had this. Or I don't know, you know, where the heck this cable is. I know I bought this one cable, and then, you know what, you go and buy the cable again, and you have the cable pop up randomly somewhere. So I went through like a whole inventory this whole entire weekend, and finally I think like a breath of fresh air is, like, you know, I guess the best way to describe it for me, because now I can sit there and go, oh, now I know I have a POTA box, and all my POTA gear and anything I would do for POTA or SOTA is in there, and I can go in and grab it, and it's not like the radios, and I've got like actual space where I can drop my gear versus like just placing it down anywhere and hoping that, you know, it's still going to continue to stay where it's going to be until, you know, I get a chance to reorganize it. So there's that. And then I want to set up a little bit more like automation, more so for being able to charge batteries. Like I don't have a good solution for being able to charge batteries in a station where I can just like take my battery out, plop it down, and it's all ready to be plugged in and go. Because I don't know about you, like, Todd said he forgot his transmitter to his radio for his planes. I've walked out the door with not remembering to bring a battery with me, and lo and behold, it's just like kind of just ruins the whole entire thing. But you just remember next time. So, or worse off, my bigger problem is the battery just is not fully charged. So instead of doing a 45-minute POTA, I'm doing a 10-minute POTA because the radio shuts off. So
you end up like me on Friday of field day, winter field day, right? I didn't realize that I didn't charge my POTA battery after the last POTA, and so my other batteries were charged, but I grabbed the POTA battery first.
Oh,
and as I go to call, the guy was in Serbia, and he answers me back, and I go, "Oh, sweet, nope." Battery's dead. Shuts the radio off.
Shuts off. We've all lived that story over and over again.
You just need a spot where you can have your NOCO battery charger with your power pole connector, and you can just plug it in and go.
Well, my biggest snafu in ham radio, I think, is when I drove all the way to Vermont to activate my first Vermont park, and I get all set up, and then I go for the coax, and I didn't bring any.
That's painful. You were pretty far from home at that point.
Right. I was far. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? I did it like 2 weeks later. I'm like, that's actually, that is what motivated me to get the bag to put everything in for POTA. So now everything fits in that bag. Like, I want to do POTA, I grab that. It's always ready. I never leave it not ready to go. Yep. So everything I need is in there.
Yeah. And the one thing I really love doing, and just kind of to wrap this up, was I bought those like Harbor Freight like storage boxes, the yellow ones with the clear top. I just was like tired of having all of my elbows and gender changers and connectors everywhere in small little boxes. So I said, screw this, we're just going to buy a bunch of them, and I filled them all up. And now it's like I'm like, okay, I know I have X number of these, and I have X number of these. I know what I'm actually missing now. So, versus like every time you go, oh, this B and C's got to go to female. Is that female or male? And you're just like kind of like pulling your hair out, and you always end up bringing the wrong connector. I mean, Paul knows exactly. He's like, when I bought my hex beam, it's a BNC female, right? Yeah, or whatever. It's the opposite. I can't remember what it is. And of course, I brought the opposite of the wrong connector. So I'm ready to set this beam up and everything, ready to play with it. Guess what? Can't play with the antenna because I don't have the right connector. Of course, Paul was like 5 minutes away, so he came to my rescue. So saved the day. But anyway, so all right. Well, that was kind of good conversation. It's definitely got a lot of some fun stuff coming up on 2024. And I know as Todd talked about with the 24-hour POTA, we're going to be talking more about that because I think we're all psyched that we want to kind of do something together as Live Free and Ham and rope a bunch of other people in to come and maybe camp out for the weekend and have fun with it. But stay tuned for that. But outside of that, we always thank you guys for joining Live Free and Ham podcast. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, you can always connect with our show by leaving us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, as they help get the show in front of new listeners and the ham curious. And you can get all of our show's latest content, information on all of our socials. And as always, if you want to help support the show, the reviews are obviously important, but you can help contribute to our Patreon and buy us a beer links as they help. And those links are in our show notes. And lastly, if you want to reach out to any one of our hosts, you can head over to our website at livefreeandham.com. As always, thanks again for listening. And from all of us at Live Free and Ham, 7-3.
7-3.